So here we go. I haven't played around with SPY in a little bit, so this is going to be fun. Year to date, we're going to go SPY, clearing everything out. And let's see here. Short straddle. Why not both? Let's do it. Let's start right now for a basically, let's start with this Strangle. So we're going to sell a 25 Delta Strangle in SPY. We're going to sell it at 9:32 a.m. And let's start with a lot of money. So let's start with 100,000. And margin's going to be crazy. So let's start with 100%. And let's do it without that first. Let's do it without any of that stuff. And then what should our profit target and stop loss be on this? Okay. So 3x the credit received. Let's just run it. Let's just see what happens. So, not bad. Not too shabby. 18% drawdown. Putting out 9:32 in the morning. Allocating 100% of your capital. Again, don't do this. Goodness gracious. I can't say it enough. Don't do this. But for testing purposes. Stop loss, 200%. So 3 times the credit received. And let's see what happens. So obviously your winners are going to be bigger than, not as big as your losers. But, you know, that's a pretty good, that's kind of like a classic, tasty thing a little bit, right? They wouldn't advocate 0 day, but kind of the naked strangle kind of there. I think Sosnov's go to. So let's just try it just for the fun of it. Before we get into the profit target stuff, let's see what happens if we do this at a 50 delta. This is not going to go well, I don't think. Yeah. Why did that not go well? Why did I know immediately that wasn't going well? Any guesses? Yes, well, that's true. Yeah, because look around us. My favorite Christmas Vacation quote when she's like, when his wife, Clark Griswold's wife, is like, he's starting to go crazy. She's like, let's just end this before things get worse. And he's like, worse? Look around us, Alan. Yes, Joseph. Thank you. Thank you. Max profit. Yeah, that is the issue. There's no profit. So if you're only getting out at a loss with a straddle, short straddle, you're only getting out when you lose. So you're going to have some winners. You win the majority of the time, but it's just not going to work well, especially in this market. So someone said 15%. Let's try it. Okay. Okay, that works. That works pretty good. Let's try one more just to compare. So which one do you guys like as we're constructing this test to then test profit targets? Which one should we use? Should we use the straddle or the strangle, or is there something different we should use? Alternative, that might be something a little bit different for this, just because testing, I have a feeling that testing the profit target on some of those, mute, I hear myself echo, sorry. There you go. I have a feeling some of those profit targets are going to, like trailing profit target on that's going to be tough because They're so minuscule. Although we could try here in a minute. Any other ones we should try 0-day before we decide? The straddle versus the strangle versus something else? It could be. Could be the case that it's overpriced. Speak now, forever hold your peace. Straddle people, strangle people. Before we go down the route of profit targets. Straddle. Okay. So here's the straddle. This is what it is. So let's get this a little bit better real quick. Let's see if we can at least. 15% was 14,772. Let's take 20%. Okay, that's good. Let's keep this going. Put that 25% profit target. Okay, that works out pretty well. Still winning a lot. 30% profit target. Okay, perfect. So 25. 25 is golden. So what we're going to do now is let's, instead of doing a profit target here, let's do this. So now we're going to say, use these profit actions. We're going to say at 50% profit, or no, certainly not. At 25% profit, we want to close 50% out of the allocation, and we want to adjust to 25. It's interesting to me when you do that. Would have, all these are going to be, because it's naked, going to be would have exercised. What other profit targets would it be interesting to test? So the fun thing about this is you could say, let's do at 5% profit, close 10 of it, move that to 5. 10% profit, close 10, move it to 10. At 15, 20, 20, 20. Then at 25, close the rest, set to 0. Does that make sense what I just did right there? I'm moving pretty fast otherwise, so let me know if you have any questions. Let's run it. Okay, so notice what's happening with this, which is interesting, is we're going down. And that kind of makes sense, right? Like we went down in profit, we went down in win percentage, we went down in all the things. But here's what's interesting. Notice what we also went down on. Max drawdown, right? And this is the secret. After everything else, after 25%, we closed everything. So at 5%, close 5%. At 10%, close 10%. At 20% profit target, close 20% of the trade. And then at 25, close 60%. So close the rest of it. That's what we're trying to accomplish there. So why would you do this? This is the question. This is the beauty of it. Why would you do profit targets at all if you could just stake it out and win more and get more money and things like that? That's exactly right, Castle. You do it because we're human, right? You do it because it feels great to lock in profit. And so what you want to do is like find this balancing act especially for 0 day stuff. My goodness. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever traded 0 day of like any size. Last year, before the madness, like maybe August, September, October, like I was slinging these things, just doing stupid stuff. And yes, there were crazy winners, but also I didn't get to go use the restroom ever because you're just glued nonstop to your thing. And especially as you're bigger, like today's actually a good day for it. How many people thought at 10 o'clock that we were going to close at 3,700? Right? Probably a lot of people started putting on condors. They started putting on flies. I guarantee you, if you had like a real time options flow, 3,700 was just getting sold all day long, right? And we could close there. I don't know, but inevitably, what happens is people put on a bunch of size, and let's say you got up by 11:30, 12, 12:15, you were up like 30, 40, maybe 50% of for the day on that. Yeah, that's right. Let's say you say it was up, and you go to lunch, and you're like, got another green day. Got to let you start doing the thing like you talk to people. You're at the coffee shop, and the because you're winning, you feel the thing where you tell people you're an options trader, and so your barista is like, here's your coconut stuff, and you're like, I trade options. Why I'm here. They're like, cool, all right, that's weird, but whatever. Like, it's probabilities. You gotta let the probabilities play out. It's just algorithm. Makes sense. And then you come back and you check your phone. You're like, oh, we just dropped 30 points, and your 0 day stuff is so gamma heavy that suddenly you're 30% down for the day or something crazy, depending on how tight your stops were and all that stuff. Or maybe there's a crazy thing and you got a bad fill or whatever. So why do it? Why do profit targets? Partly just, especially with 0 day, so that you can breathe a little bit. It's a trade-off of profit for locking in profit, taking risk off the table. It's just a way to manage things. I'm not saying it's the best thing to do, but I'm saying it's a way that you can now test it to say what's actually realistic to who I am. Like I realized last year that I'm just not a 0 day condor trader. It's just not who I am. And so I know people kill it, absolutely kill it doing it. I've got friends that like this is all they do is this stuff, and they do so much better than me at it. I just can't do it. And so a lot of this stuff is your personality in testing. If you find a good trade and someone's like, this thing kills it, but without a shadow of a doubt that you would never trade that with that size allocation or that type of strategy, but you're interested, you feel tempted towards it. What I might suggest is taking that test that you see and then adding trailing profit targets to where you start saying, well, would I do it if I felt good about taking 5% off, or if I 10% off, if I did it without so much risk? And that to me is the game changer of all of this, is when you can back test things to how you actually would trade. Does that make sense at all? It could be just because I'm a scaredy cat too, and that's okay. But also, I straight up have talked to baristas before. This is where Matt and I were in Knoxville, Tennessee one time, where we live, and we are getting coffee. And we were talking about something with Option Omega. And the barista's like, are you guys talking about options? We're like, yeah. He's like, I trade options. And I was like, I don't know if I don't know if that means this is the bottom or the top. It's crazy. But anyway, taking chips off the table certainly is the case of it. So that being said, let's go back now for the final one and just do